folks, in case you couldn't deduce this from his social media, his background, his patriotism, and his body of work, country star Jason Aldean is not woke, he's not an Antifa sympathizer, and he doesn't give a rat's ass if you don't like it. But he's under fire this week after releasing the music video for his song, Try That in a Small Town. If you couldn't already gather this from the title of the song, it's about how all the lawlessness, the looting, the rioting and vandalism, and the burning that took place after the death of the left's patron saint George Floyd would not and should not be tried in a small town. This song has a pro-2A, pro-law and order, pro-basic decency message, and the video showcases real images of the 2020 riot season. So, of course, the libs of America and the libs who don't belong in country music, well, they're having a little tantrum over it. CMT even removed the music video due to backlash of, yes, showing real-life thugs in real-life action. I guess the woke crowd is worried these images and scenes that actually took place won't look so mostly peaceful 3 years later after everyone has hopefully taken off their BLM and black square blinders. CMT hasn't been about country music or country music fans in years, and it's actually pretty pathetic. They'd rather placate to drag queens and diversity quotas over what actually sells because liberalism is a disease. But not only are the BLMers upset with Aldean's music video, so are the anti-gunners like Shannon Watts of Moms Demand Action, who tweeted this in response to the video in horror that Jason Aldean, who lived through the Route 91 Harvest Massacre in Las Vegas, would advocate for the Second Amendment. Shannon, babe, guess what? Patriots. Yeah, we don't live in Candyland like you do, and we fully understand and realize that stripping guns away from decent and law-abiding Americans will do nothing to stop gun crimes or tragedy. We also feel safer knowing we have said firearms to protect and defend ourselves should thugs, felons, terrorists, or murderers decide to try us. You know, the whole point of the Second Amendment and the shall not be infringed that you gun control people can't seem to wrap your little minds around. But in response to all of this nonsense, Jason Aldean put out a lengthy statement explaining his video and the intention behind it. A nice gesture with some clarification, but also completely unnecessary because, as Jason well knows, these vultures are dedicated to misunderstanding him anyway, and trying to somehow convince them otherwise is futile at best. They don't want to understand. They want to hate you with every woke bone in their meek little bodies because that's what these cancel culture Twitter weasels live for. Jason Aldean should not apologize and should not cede 1 inch of ground to these people. He knows that, and he knows country music fans have his back, and we are the ones buying tickets and listening to his songs. We are your people, we love your song, and we love your music video. So rock on and never bow to the mob. They aren't worth it. And to my fellow patriots, let's reverse Bud Light this and make the song go #1. You know what to do. Well, he's the real-life star behind the box office and Oscar-winning smash hit film The Blind Side, but these days, he's turning his focus to spreading love, light, positivity, and hope to those who need it most. His new book, When Your Back's Against the Wall, hits shelves on August 8th. Joining me now, former college and NFL football star turned author and philanthropist Michael Orr. Michael, it's so good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
And I'm so happy to hear that you're a Nashvilleian. I'm always finding wonderful people that live here in Nashville.
No, it's a great city. It's the first city I ever traveled to once I left out of Memphis. So fell in love with it probably about 25 years ago. We used to play all our high school championship games up here at Lipscomb Academy, Vanderbilt Stadium. Yep. So it's always been a great city to me.
Well, Tennessee loves you. And I want to talk about the book, but first, I mean, people obviously know you and they know your story from The Blind Side. So we've heard about this for so many years because it's still a film that I think every age group loves and adores and watches. And it was really a beloved film. I mean, it did really well for people like Sandra Bullock. I mean, when you saw that, I know you've answered this question a million times, but when you saw the success of this movie and how it won an Oscar for Sandra Bullock and how well it did you think that that was ever going to be possible?
I didn't, especially when, like you said, when my back has been against the wall all my life. So to have especially a movie made about you coming from nothing and being on the streets at the very beginning age of 3 years old and homeless, and the first time you felt that comfortable feeling that you'll have a place to stay for the next few years and have a meal for the next few years was when I stepped foot on college. So from 3 years old to 18, I struggled and it was a lot of hopelessness there. And to have a movie and your life story and people to inspire people and to motivate. I mean, it was an incredible thing to see, and it's still inspiring, like you said, generation after generation. 6, 7, 8-year-old kids know who Michael Oher is. So, I mean, it's an incredible feat for me, and it gave me the sense of duty to continue to doing what I'm doing now, and continue to motivate, inspire, and just give back to the people that's coming up behind me.
I love that, and we need more role models in today's society because we have a lack of that, especially strong male role models in society.
Mentors is the key to everything. That's without that, I see young boys, young girls, and it saddens me that a mentor is not in their lives, someone who can breathe wisdom and steer them in the right direction to pour back into them, because for me, I needed that early on. I was trying to do the right thing 10, 11 years old. And on the streets, you're almost an adult already at that age when you're coming from that environment. And it would have helped me mentally to have somebody to mentor and let me know that it was okay to do the right thing. If you continue to do what you do right now, when you're 20 years old, you'll be exactly what you wanted to be. And I wouldn't have had to be at war every day mentally. And it's a lot of trauma comes with that, because every day you're trying to do the right thing, but you're in the same circumstance. So you need someone to lead you and guide you and let you know it's going to be okay if you continue to do what's right.
In the last several years, especially through COVID, when people lost a lot of the extracurriculars that kept them going, the sports, the academics, the music, I mean, that was ripped away from a lot of people, especially people in underserved communities already that relied on that. And then coming out on the other side of that, we still have massive problems when it comes to our communities. We've got young people who don't know where to go. They turn to the streets. They turn to that lifestyle because they don't know what else to do. They don't have a sense of belonging. And I know that your book talks about this, and it talks about mentorship, and it talks about doing the right thing and finding your passion and finding your voice and finding what drives you. But what do you say to those young people out there who are really struggling, that, like you said, they want to do well, they want to exceed in life, and succeed in life, but they feel like there are so many barriers in their way, and it would be easier to go on a different path and maybe not be as righteous?
I think the most important thing for that right there, I laughed because it's routine. Like I said, I was homeless up until from about 3 years old, and to 10, I was in and out of foster care on the streets for a year by myself before I got put into a hospital. And then I ran away from the hospital, and I was so tired, I needed a routine. And that's what I was really chasing. I started to go to school on my own, started to do the right thing on every day. And the routine was doing the exact same thing every single day. And I had it in my mind, if I'm doing that birthday after birthday, I couldn't wait, because I knew I was getting closer to my goal, and that was success, and that was not going to the NFL or getting wherever I wanted to be, but it wasn't going to be a statistic. And with COVID, the routine broke for everyone, even for me. I'm just now getting back. I love working out. So when COVID hit, I mean, geez, I stopped working out, put on a gain 50 pounds, and just the routine was lost. And without that, everyone I know who doesn't have a great routine is life's in shambles. So you have to have a plan. You have to, whatever your dream is, put that plan together, get your routine, and that's discipline and being consistent. And you have to do that before it can be tangible. And I think that's the most important thing. So many times nowadays, everyone wants it to be so fast and to happen right now, especially with social media. But you have to get lost in the process. That's the fun part. I wouldn't be right here if I wouldn't have went through all those things as a kid. So the stories and the obstacles, and that's how you navigate, and that's how you give back. So the other person won't have to go through those rough patches. So it's the routine and, discipline and being consistent, and finding someone that you can look up to and that you admire and want to be like. But I think the most important thing for the young people, it starts with you. It starts with you right now. I didn't see anyone I was the first person that I knew to graduate high school. I didn't have anyone that had a job to go to, someone that I could see to mimic myself or model myself after. So it starts with want to. And I knew that when I looked in that mirror at 11 years old, everyone around me was, drugs and violence, all of that stuff. And they were in the same situation I was in. So I understood that they couldn't help me. So, and I didn't want to be a burden. I wouldn't want to put up my problems on them when I knew that, they couldn't save me. So I put everything on me, and I blamed myself, even though, I could have been angry at other people, but I blamed myself. And it started with want to, and just having that ability to put positivity into my mind. So, it starts with you first if you want to change.
Does it frustrate you at all in popular culture, the victimhood mentality that's pushed, especially on young people? It's, you can only attain this level of success, everything is against you, so it's not your fault, life is unfair. I feel like that message is coming in really strong right now, and sometimes it's hard to navigate through that because it's easier to be a victim. It would have been much easier for you just to be a victim.
It is because when you brought up the movie, I didn't like movies like that. I didn't like people. To me, it looks like, Big Mike in the movie, he needs someone. And that's not the case. I moved in with the Tui family at 18, and I was there a few months, less than a year. And I don't like that. If you're thinking 100%, 100% capacity, 100% physically, it's no reason you shouldn't be able to go out here, get off your butt, and get the job done, do what you need to do, and be where you want to be. It's about effort. No one's feeling sorry for yourself. For me, that was my last thought, and it's so much of that now, and it's been going on for a long time, and that handicaps a lot of people when you're constantly, giving people what they want and not having people earn things. I'm a big building it from foundation day by day, and that makes everything better. And you appreciate things a lot more when you've earned it, when you've put in the work, and when you can. When someone's giving you something you're not going to appreciate it. You're not going to understand what it took to, get this table right here and here. I mean, you're breaking and not care for it and things like that. So I think it starts there. It starts with just go back to that want to and having that foundation of sense of pride, to be honest, and just want to be better for society
And for yourself.
That's it.
So you tweeted something out in June that I thought was really interesting. It was a very simple tweet, but it just simply said, vote with your dollar. And we have the tweet. Vote with your dollar. A very simple message, right?
Yeah.
But you got to explain to me the meaning behind that, why you tweeted it and what you meant by it.
I say a lot of things. I tweet a lot of things and I delete them because people,
Well, we got that one, Michael. So
and people don't understand it. I'm kind of a person where if I'm joking, I like for you to find out what the joke is 2 weeks later. When I tweet something, it doesn't get reactions and people don't understand them. But right there, what I meant by that is whatever you believe in, whatever you're doing, if your shoe is whatever that shoe is, if you don't like that, a certain thing, don't go and support that. If your beliefs are, I don't care what party you're in, if that's your belief, you can control things by where you spend your dollar.
Right.
And you can vote that way. You don't necessarily have to go to a poll. You can believe in what you believe in, but you can control politics with your pocket. And basically what I meant by that is you and I don't want to go too deep. A lot of people have more control than what they think.
Right. And
you can make it happen with the dollar, because at the end of the day, I mean, that makes this world spin around, but I think it starts there. And, but you have to do your research. You have to know what you're doing. And you just can't be blind to things. Everything that you need is in a book. Do some research and just find out for yourself. So many people run to the polls and vote for people that they shouldn't vote for because they hadn't done any research and don't know and don't see the real meanings. And I'm smart enough to know, and coming from where I came from and being held back, especially the black culture being held back for a long time, I know what's right from wrong and what ways you should be on, and that's what I mean by that.
And now you're an author. Book coming out on August 8th, so just a couple of weeks from now. So I would assume it's a lot about your story, but what else in that book would people be surprised to read coming from you?
I think you have to check it out and see, but it's some great things in there. One of the, it's really a continuation from my last book, I Beat the Odds, and, going through, job loss and mental health with that. Just having so many unexpected things happen to you. You have a career, your career is going, playing good football, and all of a sudden it's taken away. And the most important thing in this book right here is to let people know that you can, when your back's against the wall, you don't have to give up. You have to, like I said, look yourself in the mirror, and whatever answer you need, I don't care. You might not be where you want to be in life. Whatever answer you, if it's a job, if it's a sport, look yourself in the mirror and understand are you putting in the right amount of work? Are you staying overtime? Are you doing what you're supposed to do to excel and to continue to go up that ladder? And 9 times out of 10, whatever answer you need will be in that mirror. And it's and just to want to, and healing yourself first. You can't go out and help others and change whatever situation you're in, change this world, change the next generation without being healthy first.
Right.
And for me, mentally, I had to, get back to where I was years ago, and mentally, before I could go back and reach back out and share what I'm sharing now. So it's a bunch of things, and it's a few important things in there, but I'm gonna let the people look at it and read it, and then I'll talk about it afterwards. I'll come back on talk to you.
It sounds like a fantastic book. And listening to you talk, I think your message is so important because you talk about personal responsibility and accountability. You answer to yourself. You're not a victim. Nobody cares, work harder, and you gotta be who you wanna be for yourself first, and it's nobody else's fault and it's nobody else's problem, because if you're waiting for someone to come save you, it might not ever happen. So you better learn how to save yourself. And when I listen to you talk, you actually sound a lot like one of my favorite politicians, and that's Senator Tim Scott. And I don't know if you're very familiar with him, but his message is very similar to yours, in that nobody is a victim. Go out there and make it happen for yourself. And that's not a Republican or a Democrat message. That should just be an American message. And I love that you're echoing that, especially to young people.
That's it. You're right. And when I got out to Briarcrest School that I graduated from, private school, kids are so smart, intelligent. And I was around them a couple months, and you never get to intertwine and coming from where I come from and mesh. And what I got to realize and what gave me motivation was, everybody's the same. Everybody's normal. Everybody's working hard. It's no different. I mean, some people might have the resources and the opportunities to start off and have some are ahead of the game a little bit, but it's sometimes a lot. But I mean, you have to, you can't sit back. You can't cry about it. You got to put the work in. And what that tells me is, hey, we got to do some extra work. If I get out here on the football field, I'm not as good. I have to show up earlier. I have to go to the weight room. I have to get more work in. I have to watch more film. I have to put the time in to catch up. And, before long, you're going to outpace who's ever in front of you. As long as you're putting in the extra work, it just boils down to that. It's no science behind it. It's about want to at the end of the day.
It's about want to. I love that. August 8th, your new book comes out. Thank you so much for spending so much time with me and for your incredible message. I hope everyone will go out and read your book. I think it's a great educational lesson, especially for the younger generation. They need to hear it. Michael, we're so glad to have you also in Tennessee. God bless you, and please come back soon.
Will do. Thank you. Thank you for having me.